Hi everyone. So a big issue that I saw online was, let's say you want to have a streaming response of text, right? So for example, let's say you want to have a conversation with the chatbot and you want to basically output the text messages that you're having with the chatbot and yourself. So I looked at many sources online, but I wasn't able to get a clear answer of how to do it exactly. So I decided, let me make my own example, right? So this is how you would do it in Django. So the first thing is, of course, you're going to do your imports for all the Django stuff, such as authenticate, login, logout. While that isn't necessary for our actual code, you'll probably use it for your own website. Now, the things that you will need for this project that we're doing is streaming HTTP response, which is basically like our stream from our backend Python code to our front end HTML. Okay, then you're gonna need a render, which will basically output your HTML page. Then you'll need speech recognition, which will basically turn your audio into text, to which your OpenAI API will basically decipher and give a response to. Then we'll use PyTTS-X3, which is basically just a text-to-speech thing, which will basically output the OpenAI message, the OpenAI response, you could say, I guess, back to the user. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing, as always, is going to be your urls.py, where you're going to have your standard imports, and you'll need two paths. One will be your path, which basically outputs the HTML page. In this case, it's going to be like the empty string, right? And then you're going to need another path, which basically takes care of the streaming responses onto the page. So that's going to be stream. So let's go back to views.py and see what each one does. So the empty string one, which is going to be our index page, is pretty simple. Just return render request, and it can be an empty page. Actually, it won't be empty, but I'll show it to you in a bit. Right, now let's get into stream. So this one is a bit tricky, okay? Not tricky, but a bit more intensive. So the first thing you want to do is have a response, which is equal to streaming HTTP response. And this is going to be the function that basically has the messages that you want to output, the text that you want to output. And content underscore type is basically the format, which is text, and it's going to be an event stream. And these are just some syntax things just to make sure it runs smoothly. And finally, you want to do a return response. Now we have streaming HTTP response messages. So now let's look into what the messages does. So we just have our username set up and chatbot name set up. Let's say it's echo. Now you're going to need to declare a recognizer, sr.recognizer, which will turn your Pi audio stream, your sr.microphone, back into text, right? Along with that, you're going to need to set up your client with OpenAI, and please don't use this API key. Even you can try, but it's going to be disabled, by the way, so it doesn't matter. Then you're going to have your final list. It's not required. Same for conversation transcript, but the main reason I kept those are just so that we can keep track of all these messages, okay? And then you're going to need a system message, right? We're always talking about prompt engineering, so this is basically your prompt engineering for your OpenAI client, okay? Then you're going to need an engine, which is what's going to turn your OpenAI response into speech, so that our AI model can have a conversation going back and forth with the user and them. Then you'll just do some set properties, such as how loud do you want it, what type of voice do you want to use, and now we get into the actual stuff. So we're just doing an infinite loop where they can have a conversation for how long as they want. However, you can obviously set it differently, such as only have up to 2 or 3 minutes of conversation or whatever like that, right? And then what you have to do is read the microphone as a source and listen to that, which will basically be our audio. And this is what turns our audio into text, right? This recognize_whisper API. So then what we're going to do is save okay, that's not relevant. That was actually used to save our previous stuff, but I'll just delete it for now. And then you'll have your chat completion, where we'll basically respond to this text OpenAI will respond to that text. And this is the standard syntax with GPT 3.5. And the result from OpenAI will be stored as assistant underscore message. Now what we're going to say is engine.say assistant message. So it'll basically output the message and we'll hear it, I should say. So yeah, now let's look at our index.html. So here you're going to have a few buttons. These are really not relevant to actually having the code started, because what I have it set as is the second that you open the page, the index.html page, it's going to instantly start reading your voice and everything. So you won't have to worry about that. Then let's say you have so as you can see, this is all the code, and don't worry, this will all be provided in a GitHub repository in the description section. So now let's look at the results. So as you can see here, we have our thing running, and let's talk to the chatbot. Hi, how are you doing today? If you're asking me, I'm doing really good. Now tell me something about yourself. So now we have a bit of silence and it's converting to text, and I'll shortly provide a response as well. So let's just wait, because it does take a bit of time since we're using so many APIs. Yep, it should be loading soon.
Hello. I'm here to help you with your tasks and make your day a little easier. Let's review your to-do list together.
So as you can see here, we have our response by our Echo or OpenAI API on the page, and that's how you do it. Let me know if you need some clarifications in the comment section. And most importantly, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you.